Hiya, friends. Prepared Suburbanite back with you. Um, I've been fighting Japanese stiltgrass for years around here, and I think I have finally found a way to manage it at least, but conquer it may be even a better word. So let me go over some things that I've learned about trying to manage this very invasive species that just wreaks havoc with everything around here and all along the East Coast. It's a mess. So stick around. So, based on the research that I've done on the origins of Japanese stiltgrass, is I found that it was very commonly used back in the 1800s, mid to late 1800s, as a packing material for China and things that came from China, um, and Japan as well. But China is really the origin and where this thing came from. But they used it as packing material. It grew profusely all around, and it was easily harvested with a sickle or a scythe. And they could use that as packing material for goods that were shipped in from overseas. And once it got here, folks just would take that packing material out and toss it out in their backyards or toss it out in the woods or wherever, and it would take root and spread like crazy. It's an extremely prolific weed, and it grows pretty much anywhere that you don't want it to grow. When we first moved in here 20 plus years ago, we had Japanese stiltgrass that had grown up this tall all throughout our woods, all around here behind me and down behind our shed and where we keep our wood and all that. It was just all over the place. And I went out with a weed whacker the first couple of years and I'd try to take it down, and that would work for a while, and it would continue to grow back. And every year after that, it would just continue to grow back. And then I learned about the growth cycle of the weed itself. And it appears that from late August through the middle of October or so, it will mature and go to seed. And what you've got to be able to do is get it before that happens. So I've spent quite a lot of time this summer working to keep the stiltgrass at bay. And I'm out there with the weed whacker and I'm cutting it down wherever I can. I'm mowing it down wherever I can find it. And what I do in the late fall, once I've cut it all down, is take the leaves that have fallen off the trees and fill up our backyard with dead leaves and all that as the seasons change around here. And I would throw all that stuff on a tarp and I'd carry it out to where the stiltgrass was growing the heaviest, and I would cover it with dead leaves. And after I would use some of those leaves to overwinter our raised bed gardens. And in the springtime, when I would rake all those leaves out, put them on a tarp, drag it back out into the woods, and I would continue to cover that whole area where the Japanese stiltgrass was most prolific. And so far this year, I've probably spent um, 3 separate days with the weed whacker and the lawnmower out there trying to mow this stuff down. And what I found is that if you cover it with a very thick layer of leaves, and you do that in the late fall, right during the time when it's seeding, that it retards the growth and it prevents it from spreading even further. First thing in the spring, when you start seeing it come back, you're out there with the weed whacker again and you're trimming it back and trimming it down. And I've done that pretty much religiously for the last 3 years. And I can honestly say that it works. Keeping it mowed down, keeping it down in check, making sure that you get it right down to ground level before it goes to seed, and then cover it with a very thick layer of dead leaves that retards the growth. So far this year, it has not proliferated to the extent that it has. There are still areas around in our backyard and in our little wood lot that's behind us and on the other side that it will find its way to start growing. And whatever you can do to get out there and do it. I'm not a big fan of using chemicals or anything like that on our grass or on the weeds and stuff like that. So I didn't resort to using any of the chemicals that are available, but I'm sure that they would work as well. So I went, I think I've showed you up here what it looks like. And I had to go um, out front and to the neighbor's front yard to get um, to get some decent footage of growing Japanese stiltgrass. And what my neighbor has done, just moved in across the way, is he's covered his plot of Japanese stiltgrass with a big old tarp. And I think that'll work just as well as the leaves if you can afford to buy those big tarps and all that. So he's got his tarp, and I'll show you that up here. He's got his tarp laid out over where it's really growing thick in his side yard. So um, that's going to work using that kind of cover to kill it off and die it down. But I have found it pretty much anywhere. When we had our bug out cabin in just outside of Roxborough, it was all over the place there. And I've seen videos from folks up in Pennsylvania, around the Pittsburgh area that just have, it's all over the place there. And I got to make sure that I'm staying ahead of it here. And I think the methodology that I'm using, keeping it mowed down, keeping it trimmed down, and covering it with whatever you can, dead leaves, tarps, and all that, really gets it to a manageable state. And then it's just a matter of routine maintenance. I hope you found this helpful if you're fighting Japanese stiltgrass, and um, take it for what it is. If you enjoyed this and you got something good out of this that's helpful information, please give us a thumbs up. Share this where you can. And remember, be prepared always. This is the Prepared Suburbanite, and I'll see you all on the next video.